guys, welcome to Ashton Fitness. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to do bodyweight bicep curls. Bodyweight bicep curls are one of my favorite calisthenics bicep exercises because they really isolate the biceps and can be adjusted to your current strength level, making them great for beginners, intermediate and advanced calisthenics athletes alike. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to do them and how to get the most out of them so that you can incorporate them into your routine to build strength and grow some impressive biceps. If you enjoyed the video, then remember to give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and if you really enjoy it, then make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever your favorite social media platform is, so that they can learn how to do bodyweight bicep curls too. I'm going to explain how to do bodyweight rows in two ways. The first way is going to be for beginners, and the second way is going to be for intermediate and advanced calisthenics athletes. If you're an intermediate or an advanced calisthenics athlete, then I'm going to leave a timestamp here to the part of the video that you can skip to learn how to do them for you. But for now, I'm just going to focus on the beginners so that they can learn how to do this bodyweight bicep curl themselves. Let's start with the technique and the positioning. So, what you want to do is you want to set up on the bar with your hands with a supinated grip. That means with your palms facing towards your face. You want to set up with your arms about shoulder width, and then what you want to do is you want to come down until the bar is about level with your chest. You don't want to be too far forward like this, and you don't want to be too far back. You just want the bar to be kind of in line with your chest. You can be a tiny little bit back if you want. Adjust it to suit your preferences, adjust it to suit your style, because everyone's going to be different. However, the benchmark is more or less to have the bar in line with your chest. So what you want to do from there is having your hands with that supinated grip, shoulder width apart. What you want to do next is plant your feet into the floor and then push your hips up. You don't want to have your hips too low and you don't want to have your hips too high, moving like some exorcist girl. You just want to have your hips nice and straight like that, and you want to make sure that everything is nice and in line so that when you do the movement, everything's in line and you're getting that core activation as well. So what you want to do, hands supinated, shoulder width apart, plant your feet into the floor, push your hips up, and then the final portion of the movement is to just bring the bar up to your face, like that. You want to pull yourself up until your face reaches the bar. Try and keep your hips up, don't allow them to sag as you come up. Keep them up, keep them nice and strong throughout the whole movement, and then come up and come down, like that. That is the bodyweight bicep curl for beginners. Also remember to make sure that your hands are nice and fluid around the bar, because if you don't allow them to rotate along the bar, then you won't go anywhere. It will be a completely different exercise and you won't get the most out of it. If I don't allow my hands to rotate, then I just kind of come up like this. Yes, it does work the biceps, but it doesn't work them as effectively. So make sure you allow your hands to rotate. When you're in the position, make sure they come up, they rotate, like that. That is how you get the most out of the bodyweight bicep curl. They are quite challenging. For beginners, it might be quite a difficult exercise for you to do. However, it's a great one. It really isolates the biceps. It's great for bicep growth. It's also great for building the strength and the endurance needed in your biceps to progress onto more advanced calisthenic skills. And it's a great burner exercise. Once you do your chin-ups, once you do your pull-ups, this is a great one to throw into your workouts to really put that tension on your biceps and help them grow. I'm going to run some clips now showing you the bodyweight bicep curl from different angles, just so that you can conceptualize it and visualize it and see how it works from different angles to help you carry it into your routine, because as I said, it is a really effective exercise. It's personally one of my favorites. In calisthenics, it can be quite difficult to isolate the biceps. There are lots of different exercises like chin-ups, like pull-ups, that do work the biceps, but they also incorporate other muscle groups as well, so the focus isn't solely on the biceps. However, with these bodyweight bicep curls, they really put most of the tension on your biceps so that you can really focus that attention and really get the most out of the exercise and really grow your biceps as well. So that's why I really like this exercise. It's one of my personal favorites, and yeah, it's just a brilliant exercise. Now I'm going to show you the second way to do the bodyweight bicep curl, which is for intermediate and advanced calisthenics athletes. The reason why this one is for intermediate and advanced calisthenics athletes is because it requires a great deal of wrist strength and wrist conditioning to pull off. It's a little bit risky for beginners to try this one, just because most beginners might not have the wrist strength or wrist conditioning to do the exercise safely. So I only really recommend it to intermediate and advanced calisthenics athletes who have built up that wrist strength with specific exercises, and I'll show you those exercises at the end, but with specific exercises to strengthen your wrists so that you can do this one effectively and safely. So to do this variation of the bodyweight bicep curl, what you want to do is the following. So you'll remember with the beginner variation, you had your hands supinated grip, shoulder width apart on the bar. With this variation, what you want to do is you want to have your hands close grip, still supinated, but the key difference is you want to have a pseudo false grip over the top of the bar where the fleshy parts of your palm are resting on the bar. I'll show you another angle of this now so that you can properly see what I'm talking about. The positioning of your wrist is very important here because you don't want to be resting the bar on the tendons on your wrist. You don't want to be resting it like on the outsides, like on the kind of like where your thumb is. You don't want to be doing that. You want to be resting your palms using the fleshy part of the palms on top of the bar. That will give you the most protection, the most padding, the most support to do the movement safely and effectively. And that's just the best way to do it. So you want your hands close grip, you want that pseudo false grip on the bar, you want to set up in the same way that you would have done with the beginner progression. So just to recap for those who haven't seen that, because you might have skipped to this part of the video. So what you want to do is ideally start off at the bottom here like this. You want your chest kind of below the bar. Now this is a key difference because in the beginner variation you ideally kind of wanted your chest below the bar. It could be a little bit back this way. Obviously you don't want to be too far back like that and you don't want to be too far forward like this. You kind of just want it below the bar. However, for the intermediate progression, what you want to have is your chest just slightly beyond the bar this way. So instead of having it just below the bar here, you kind of want to come under it a little bit more, even so much more that it's just a little bit beyond the bar here. So you set up in the bottom position like this. If this is too hard for you to hold, then you can just set up like this. This is a good starting position as well because it can be a little bit uncomfortable to hold this position if you're not used to it. So you can set up here. This is perfectly normal as well. This is how I'll set up in most cases. So you can either set up here or you can set up here. Just make sure that your chest is below that bar or even just slightly in front of it. Then what you want to do is plant your feet into the floor so that you've got a nice stable base. Thrust your hips up like this, make sure they're in line. You don't want them too overextended, you don't want them to sag. Make sure they're nice and in line, and then using the strength from your arms, from your biceps, make that mind muscle connection, pull the bar up right to your face, and then come back down. And then you want to repeat that movement, pull the bar right to your face and come back down. Make sure you keep your hips in line. Make sure your hips don't sag as you come up. Make sure they don't come up too high. Just keep them nice and in line with your body and come up. Bring your face to the bar like that. Get that good squeeze on your biceps. Make sure that your elbows are facing towards the sky as well. When you come up, really point them up towards the sky. Get that squeeze on your biceps. And that is how you get the most out of the intermediate progression, because the intermediate progression is awesome. Just that little adjustment in your hand placement, just that little adjustment in your positioning of your chest, just to make it slightly beyond the bar. Just those little micro adjustments really place a lot more tension on your biceps and help you get the most out of the exercise, help them grow better, help you put more tension on them, and help you build more strength in your biceps as well. I'm going to show you what the movement looks like from different angles, just so that you can get a feel for how to do it yourself. Again, highly recommend this exercise as an addition to your back and biceps routine, or if you just want to do arms and you just want to hit biceps, this is a perfect addition to your exercise routine, and it can be done anywhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be done on home parallel bars like I've got. You could do it on a bike rail, you could do it as long as the bar is low to the ground. You can do this exercise anywhere. So you could do it on a Smith machine, for example, which is what I do in my gym. I just get the Smith machine and I lower the bar and then do bodyweight bicep curls on there. It's really effective, it really works. All you need is a low bar. So it's a really great bicep exercise that can be done with just simply a low bar, and that's it. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you can scale this exercise to your level of ability. So you can change the adjustment of your legs in order to suit your current strength level, to make it easier or harder depending on how strong you currently are. And I'll show you how to do that. So, using the intermediate example again, what you can do to make this exercise harder or easier is adjust the positioning of your legs. The rule is the further out your legs are, the harder it will be, and the further in your legs are, the easier it will be. So the easiest variation is obviously to have your legs tucked in as closely as possible. So when you're in the position and you come up, then this will be easier than if you were to bring your legs out like this. Remember to keep that straight line and then come up. This is much harder because your legs are further out and it just increases the load on your biceps. So if you want to manipulate the exercise, if you start to feel that you can do, I don't know, 10 reps of it fairly easily, then what you can do to challenge yourself in the future is just bring your legs out a little bit more, and then it will make the exercise significantly harder. It will place more tension on your biceps and it will give them the extra stimulus that they need to grow. If you want to build up your wrist strength and wrist conditioning in preparation for the intermediate and advanced variation of the bodyweight bicep curl, then here's what you can do to build up that strength to condition your wrists so that you can transition from the beginner variation to the intermediate / advanced variation. So we'll set up in the intermediate position. So to recap, that's with the fleshy parts of your palm on the bar, and what you want to do is you can just start off by, you don't have to lift your hips at this point, you can just start off by having your butt on the floor, setting up in the intermediate pseudo false grip position, and literally just doing this. Just coming down as if you were about to set up for a bodyweight bicep curl, but just holding this position. If you're not used to this, even with your butt on the floor, can be quite challenging. So you could just hold this maybe for about 10 seconds, whatever your current strength level will allow, and you could do perhaps 3 sets. So you could hold that pseudo false grip position with your fleshy parts of the palms on the bar, come down and just hold this 10 seconds for 3 sets, 4 sets, however many you want to do. 3 to 4 sets, that's a good amount. And that will help, if you do that over time, that will help to build up that relevant strength that you need to hold yourself in that position. Then what you can do once you get comfortable with that is you can then transition from having your butt on the floor to having your butt off the floor, like this, which is the starting position for the bodyweight bicep curl. This just places a little bit more tension on this part of your wrist, and it will allow you to build up the strength again gradually, because again it's important just to build up the strength gradually in order to do this skill. It will help you to build up the strength gradually so that you can then graduate onto doing the full bodyweight bicep curl. So the beginning progression might look like this, butt on the floor. Second progression might look like this, with your hips up like that, just holding that position, strengthening your wrists. Again, you can hold that for about 10 seconds. You can do about 3 sets of that, and then that will, over time, the more you do it throughout the weeks, it will help you to build up the strength in your wrists. And then eventually what you can then do is you can attempt to try and do the full bodyweight bicep curl from there. So you can come up and try and do that. Make sure that you keep that pressure on the fleshy parts of your palm. You never want to put it on the tendons of your wrists. You never want to put it on that part of your wrist where the arm joins the hand. You never want to put that tension here. You always want to keep it here. So make sure that you always do that. But yeah, when you get comfortable with holding yourself in that position, you'll be able to graduate onto the full bodyweight bicep curl. You can also supplement this training with pseudo false grip hanging on a bar as well. That might be beneficial for you. There is a little bit on that in my how to slow muscle up tutorial. I talk a little bit about that because the pseudo false grip is a way to perform the slow muscle up. So you could potentially practice hanging on a bar with a pseudo false grip, and then that will also help you to translate the strength over to the slow muscle up as well. It just depends on how you want to do it, but those 2 progressions that I showed, those are very, very good for building up the strength. So that is how you would approach building up the wrist conditioning and the wrist strength to hold the intermediate version of the bodyweight bicep curl. And yeah, the more you practice that, the easier it will become. When I first started, it used to be quite painful, and you never want to work through pain. And I say painful, it was like manageable. You never really want to work through pain whenever you're doing calisthenics. If it's painful, then stop immediately, just lay off of it. You never want to work through pain. But it was, what I meant to say was, it was a little bit like kind of uncomfortable at the beginning. but over time, now it's nowhere near as uncomfortable as it was. In fact, it's not even uncomfortable at all. Now I can do it very, very easily. But that's because I spent time building up the wrist strength, conditioning my wrists to hold the position so that I could do the movement very, very smoothly, very, very easily with minimal discomfort. That's the end of the tutorial. If you enjoyed it, then leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want more videos like this one. And let me know if you want me to cover a specific calisthenics skill. If you want a tutorial, just request it in the comments below. I read all the comments all the time. So let me know and I will see if I can make a video on any calisthenics skill that you want me to. Maybe I've made it already. Have a look through my channel, subscribe, because there's a lot of content on here. So if you need something in particular, definitely subscribe, because 9 times out of 10 you'll probably find it on my channel. If you haven't been able to find it, then just leave me a comment and I'll try and make a video about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.